Welcome back to HQ Spotlight. The 2026 season belongs to the Buckeyes again, at least according to Vegas. Right now, they own the shortest odds to win the college football playoff next year at plus 600. You got Notre Dame and this year's champ in Indiana in the mix right behind them at plus 700. In case you're wondering, only 356 days until the next championship out in Las Vegas. But who's keeping count? Just because college football season is over doesn't mean our party stops here. We've got our Chip Patterson stopping by with a way too early look at next year's championship run. Chip, we're going to start with those first four teams, our top four seeds, if you will, that'll earn the byes. I'm looking at the rundown here. It feels kind of chalky, but what do you think about those top four teams getting byes, Chip?
Well, so we're looking at, I think, where I've got Notre Dame, where I've got Ohio State, where I've got Texas Tech and Texas. You are going to say, yes, those are familiar names. But, Haley, I'll take it another level. I think the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are going 12-0. I think they're going undefeated through the regular season after a college football playoff snub. And a lot of this comes from C.J. Carr. I think C.J. Carr's success was overlooked this season because he was one of the most efficient players in the country. He was top 5 in the nation in passer rating. He was top 5 in yards per attempt. He was up there with names like Mendoza, Sayin, Pavia, your boy Mestermaker, and yet he was not as celebrated. They also have a transfer portal class that ranks 7th in the country, but only with a few players, the highest per player rating. Guys like Tion Gray, Keon Keeley. Their defense is going to be absolutely lights out, and the revenge angle from the college football playoff snub, I think, will be a motivating fire for Marcus Freeman's group as they roll through a very manageable schedule, finish 12-0, and are the number 1 seed at the end of the year.
12-0, it's not impossible. We saw Indiana run the table and win a national championship just a couple weeks ago, so we will keep our eye on that. Let's move on to our at-large bids here, Chip. We're going to start in the Big Ten. They've been working to dethrone the SEC over the last couple of years. Which team has your attention here for the CFP?
Yeah, I think Oregon and Indiana will be right there in the mix with Ohio State. I'm giving the Buckeyes the nod as the Big Ten champs, but the Oregon Ducks are going to be the team to watch, and it all comes back to Dante Moore returning to this team. Talking to some people close to the program when they were down there for the Orange Bowl, they just felt really good about the young talent that Dan Lanning has been bringing into the program, and they understood that while they are going to be losing some players, they even thought Moore was going to be among them, that they were going to be right back in the mix for another Big Ten title. Think about DeCorian Moore, who missed a lot of time this year. Evan Stewart, who got injured going into the season. The injury issues that piled up, if they can stay healthy, mean they could be even better this fall. So I think that Oregon's going to be able to come back with Dante Moore leading the way. And they might not win the Big Ten. Again, I'm going with the Buckeyes here, but they're absolutely in the mix for the national title.
Well, we mentioned the SEC, so let's go to the SEC, Chip, because you and I have both covered this conference very closely. It's hard to imagine a world where Alabama is not a powerhouse, but we saw last year and maybe going forward that things in T-Town are just a little bit different. So what's the temperature you're getting in terms of the bracket for the SEC?
Yeah, I do think that we're going to see Alabama fall short here. I do think that we could end up seeing Ole Miss fall short in Pete Golding's debut. But it's the former Ole Miss coach that I do think ends up making the biggest splash. I'm looking at LSU to make the college football playoff in year 1 of the Lane Kiffin era. They've got Sam Leavitt. They've got Hussein Longstreet if Leavitt has any more injury issues along the way. They've got the number 1 transfer portal class in the entire country. And I just think that as much controversy that's been going into the season, when we actually get to being on the field in 2026, it's not going to be about the soap opera. It's not going to be about the tweets or the Instagrams. It's going to be about the wins. And I think LSU will be able to pile them up with Lane Kiffin leading a big-time offense for the Tigers. So I do think that LSU is not going to win the SEC. I think that'll be Texas, but I think that LSU will stack up enough wins to be able to make the college football playoff. And that would be, in my opinion, a successful year 1 for Lane Kiffin.
I'm just a little bit salty that I didn't get a heaven forbid during that answer there, Chip. I was expecting a little southern drawl from you when we were talking about Alabama not in that CFP, but it is a new era. I do like the Lane Kiffin purple suit. Let's go over to the ACC. I feel so bad for all the Miami fans in our building. Like, I feel like they're still kind of walking around saying what could have been in that championship. But either way, they were kind of the bright spot for the ACC this year, Chip. Expecting that to be the same next year?
Absolutely. A class to themselves in the Atlantic Coast Conference. The ACC runs through the U. Picking up Darian Mensah is an absolute game changer. You add Cooper Barkate as well from Duke, one of their top wide receivers, 1,000-yard receiver, and you've got Mark Fletcher coming back at running back. Malachi Toney, we know, is an absolute stud. And defensively, I think we're really going to see some of those young pups really grow up. Guys that have been rotation players behind the likes of Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor. This is a talent acquisition program under Mario Cristobal that has been operating at an elite level for a while now. Now we have on-field results to be able to back it up. I just think that they're going to be able to march their way to an ACC title. And the real question will be whether or not they can back it up with another deep playoff run. I've got them slotted a little lower because of an overall strength of schedule argument, because I've got them losing to Notre Dame in the non-con. But overall, the Hurricanes are the class of the conference, and I think have a nice paved path to the college football playoff.
All right, that means we have just one spot left, and you're giving it to Boise State, but it's not as the Mountain West Boise State, but as the Pac-12. Welcome back, Pac-12.
That's right, Haley. You, me, and everybody else, we got to get our brains right for the Pac-12. And we're going to be bringing a lot of the Pac-12 here on CBS and CBS Sports Network, fired up about it. And I think that Boise State hits the ground running. I think they join this new league with a lot of the other great state schools that are in there coming over from the Mountain West. And I think that Spencer Danielson, the consistency he's developed within that program, they went through a little bit of a midseason lull, but we remember a lot of that came from the injury to quarterback Maddox Madsen. So, with the Broncos being able to regain their footing, and I do think that the Pac-12 is going to get some respects that allow them to be on the same level as the American Athletic Conference when it comes to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. So, you need to be the highest rated team from the group of 6. I think winning the conference championship in the first year of the Pac-12 will be enough to be able to give the Pac-12 champion that edge, and I think that champion will be Boise State.
Real quick, Chip, who wins in this bracket that you just gave us?
This bracket, Ohio State.
Okay.
A chip on the shoulder. They were 12-0 and they finished with 2 losses. If they don't have an edge in the last year of Jeremiah Smith, something is wrong in Columbus. So I think the Buckeyes get it done.
Buckeyes get it done. In our way too early look at the CFP 2026 edition, Chip Patterson, always a pleasure to have you on HQ Spotlight. Plenty more from Chip and the entire Cover 3 crew on the Cover 3 podcast. Latest episode breaking down all of that NIL news that's been swirling around in college football. So scan that QR code and get locked in now.